Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11.
And welcome into Home Track Heroes here on KSTW. Thanks for spending your afternoon with us. My name is Caleb Hart. He is Greg Pyland. It's Granite Construction Night at the races. That means sprint cars. Main event tonight. Going to be a fun one as they gear up for the War of the Wings feature coming up on next weekend's program. We got all kinds of good stuff, though, coming, Greg. Got a little bit of everything. Hornets, Youth Hornets, Stinger 8, Superstock figure 8s, and the sprint cars as well. Going to be a great show.
Yeah, really excited to see a lot of the figure 8 action, and then, like you said, just kind of that warm-up for the War of the Wings, so really excited for a good car count here for the Granite Super Sprints tonight.
We got so much to get to. We're even going to give you a little taste of heat race action. We don't always necessarily get that on the show, but we're going to do it here tonight, so sit back, relax, enjoy, strap in, grab something to drink. Let's get to some heat racing action to begin with. The Buzz-In Stinger 8s on the program, and we're going to give you some heat race run from them. On the pole for this one, this 8-lap around the figure 8 course, it's the 20. Riley Riddell going figure 8 style in the DL Enterprises car. Talon Kohler going to be next to him, the Rays Espresso of Machias, number 19.
In the 151, it's Cody Weldon, sponsored by All Ply Roofing LLC. The 18J of Jackson Beckel, sponsored by JBR Racing.
And it's Daddy Dearest, Josh Beckel, the 83, kind of hanging out there at the end, just kind of sneak in, see if he closes up the gap any at all, and comes up on the back of the field. But we'll go 5 cars. We'll go 8 times around here, Stinger 8 heat race here for you guys on Home Track Heroes. And interesting, the Stinger 8s are our most, I'm going to say, active in the biggest division that we have for the figure 8ers around here. But with only 5 cars, I don't expect to see a whole lot of intersectioning happening.
Well, I think every time there's a Beckel involved in the race, there's always a chance, especially when you see Josh there, giving a little bit of a nudge there to the 151 of Cody Weldon, but kind of jumps into that 4th spot, but always a lot of excitement here. And like you said, though, with 5 cars, we'll see what happens as the 19 of Talon Kohler leads this group for that first lap.
It is Kohler out in front. You've got Beckel, Jackson version, 18J, and there is Josh's dad trying to work to the inside of Riley Riddell. And this is the first time I ever remember seeing Riley on the figure 8 course, as he has been a circle tracker from our Youth Hornets and into the Pro 4 trucks, and now he's going to turn right and left.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see the progress that Riley Riddell has made, and like you said, coming from the Youth Hornets division, I thought last year had a great series with the Pro 4 trucks out there. Really, you can see him kind of learning, coming into his own, so it'll be exciting to see what he does in this figure 8 course here in the Stinger 8s.
Talon Kohler up in front. Jackson Beckel keeping him close. We're 3 in and 5 to go. You can keep track of the running order for everybody here on the Evergreen Speedway ticker. In the top portion of your screen, it is Kohler trying to hold off Beckel, and Beckel looking for opportunity to sneak around Talon and pick up a heat race win. Now, the heat races have no bearings on a main event lineups. They have no cash payout to them. It is only for season championship points, and every point matters when it comes down to the very end of the year, especially here that garnered in these heat races.
And Caleb, it's one of those things too that we saw for the championship race last year in so many of these divisions. The cars and the drivers that were able to make it out here for those heat races, it ended up making a difference, because you have some of those championship nights where you have 2 or 3 divisions where it's so close, and so being out here getting those points for the heat race is so important. And nice to see Jackson Beckel, who's obviously somebody running towards the top here in this division, out here getting some of those points that will be key later on in the season.
Beckel running a car looking very, very fast as he's coming up on the back of Talon Kohler, and they're going to put a lap here on Weldon early. Now Weldon, look out! Into the back of him goes Kohler, and that's the opportunity that Beckel needs to sneak by in the intersection.
Yeah, very patient there for the 18J of Jackson Beckel, and takes the white flag here, so just able to sneak by the 19 of Talon Kohler, as there was that little bit of issue there with the 151, but now just smooth sailing for the 18J as he comes around the first pole here through the intersection cleanly. The 18J of Jackson Beckel going to come around here the final turn, and he's going to take the checkered flag in this Stinger 8 heat race.
Every point, every position matters in the season championship chase, and Jackson Beckel just picked up a big one right there over Talon Kohler. So back here to the booth while we set up our next heat race, and the Monroe Grocery Outlet Superstock Figure 8's going to roll out to the racetrack. So we'll go 8 cylinders and bigger car style here, and let these guys and girls go for 8 times around. On the pole of this one, Blaine Manning in the 11 is sponsored by Be Happy Carpet Cleaning. Next to him, 69 of RJ Mackey, sponsored by Monroe Co-op.
Sponsored by BECU, it's the 67 of Mackenzie Dietz on the outside. Sponsored by Pilchuck Heating, the 72 of Jeff Talbert.
Third and final row, it is the JE55. That spells Jess, Jessica Wilkinson. And next to Jess, it's the 5 of John Carlson, sponsored by Mary's Towing. So, 6 cars, 8 times around. You can see them scuffing, scrubbing, trying to get a little heat. Not just get heat, but actually that cleans the tire off. So if they've picked up some rubble, some debris, it's interesting depending on how hot the tires are to begin with. They can actually get some gravel stuck in them sometimes. So they're trying to get them clean and get them warm before they go 8 times around going right and left.
And you know that number 5 car, obviously the championship car from last year, driven by Quentin Borison. Green flag flies here, so we'll see how the Cowboy John Carlson does. Driving the 5 here. Nice jump and good start there by Blaine Manning in the 11 car as they come around the first turn here. But looking sharp there, but I'm kind of excited to see what happens with that 5 car. Starting in the back of the pack, we'll see if they can make their way up there for John Carlson.
Second row, Talbert and Dietz. Mackenzie, our winner the last time out here, as it was Figure 8 Nationals the last time we saw this division, and Mackenzie picked up the big win in their biggest race of the year. Right now, going side by side with Talbert, and Jeff's taking third away from Dietz and begins working on Mackey for the second spot.
So Talbert still trying to be a little bit patient here, trying to get around RJ Mackey. Mackey, though, doing a great job, but gets a little bit loose there coming through the intersection. That's going to open the door there for the 72 of Jeff Talbert. So Talbert takes the inside, as does the 67 of Mackenzie Dietz. So big loss there for the 69 of RJ Mackey's. He's going to fall all the way back behind John Carlson in the 5.
Talbert had to do a little scrambling mid-corner as he got into the South Pole turn with a little bit of extra momentum. It opened the bottom up for Dietz, but she couldn't make her way all the way through it as Talbert kind of sloshed the rear end around, got back on the throttle pedal early, and at least maintained the spot here for now. Manning leads halfway home, 4 down, 4 to go, and we're watching a really good race between Jeff Talbert, 72, Mackenzie Dietz is 67, and John Carlson now right up on there in the blue 5 car.
And Dietz really, putting the pressure on here on Jeff Talbert in the 72 car. As you said, it's been a kind of a great battle right now. The 72 still holding firm in that second spot, and Blaine Manning in the 11 just kind of out there in cruise control, seemingly out in front. Gets a little bit wide there, but Jeff Talbert not close enough to take advantage as they come around that first pole. And it looks like Mackenzie Dietz now falling off just a little bit, but through the intersection gets to catch right back up to the 72 as we now have 3 laps to go.
Talbert is right up on the back of Manning here for your race lead. So Blaine Manning had it easy for a little bit, but coming into the white flag lap, he is definitely feeling it as Talbert right there just looking for opportunity as they'll take the white flag around the north corner. The left-hand turns and, getting a little sideways and wide off the turn. We might have some action on the final lap.
And Dietz almost able to take advantage there on Jeff Talbert as Talbert got wide there, like you said, as they just came across the line for the white flag. Blaine Manning, though, coming through the intersection. Jeff Talbert still holding into second. John Carlson looks to the outside here, but it's going to be the checkered flag. It's going to go to Blaine Manning, Jeff Talbert, and Mackenzie Dietz, 1, 2, 3 in this heat race.
All right, we'll move off the Figure 8 track for the time being, and let's get you a little taste of sprint cars. You'll see them in our final segment here of the night on Home Track Heroes. For now, the Granite Sprint Car Series making their way out onto the track here is heat race number 1 for them. Your pole sitter for this one is car number 8. That is Cody Ridge. He's sponsored by First Line Systems. Next to him, it's Greg Middendorf. Car number 4, the Middendorf Motorsports entry.
Sponsored by R2H Dispensary. It's the O2 of Eric Humphreys. On the outside, sponsored by Dracor Construction, the 33J of Jeff Montgomery.
Row number 3, Fleet Service, sponsors the 44 of Todd Coleman. Next to him, it's Michael Newman. Car number 40, sponsored by First Line Systems, Inc.
15 of Jacob Austin, sponsored by Austin Electric. On the outside is Richie Larson driving the 22.
8 cars, 8 times around, and again, same principle applies. It is all for points, not for standing in the A main event at all. No money on the line as well, but it is a chance to see where you're at. A little measuring stick here in the heat race as well.
Caleb, this is completely your realm, and so I look to you as the expert. And the one thing I've always noticed about this Granite and Super Sprint Series is you blink and you miss a lap at least, right? I mean, they are just so stinking fast, even on the smaller 3/8 course.
They are the fastest cars that you're going to see over the course of the year here at Evergreen Speedway, around the 3/8. The horsepower to weight ratio is absolutely insane. It's really only eclipsed by Top Fuel Funny cars. So, Cody Ridge going to jump out to the early lead and up and around the outside, I think. Looks like Michael Newman might maybe make the pass. No, not Newman. It's Montgomery's 33J who is rocketing up into second place. So good run for him early. Ridge going to lead. Settle Montgomery into second. And Humphreys has worked his way into third in the early going.
Yeah, just like that, Greg Middendorf in the 4 car lost that third spot to the 0-2 of Eric Humphreys as they come around, and it looks like Montgomery now trying to make a pass, and the 0-2 is going to go around. That's Eric Humphreys right in turn number 3.
So Humphreys' little snap spin around to the corner. Doesn't look like we're going to get a replay of that one, but you kind of saw it out of the corner of your eye. You mentioned the laps go quickly. Everything happens quickly in a sprint car, and even just the tiniest flinch of your steering wheel in the wrong direction can unfortunately send you spinning, just like Mr. Humphreys did.
Yeah, unfortunate there, and we see obviously no damage there for the 0-2, able to jump back in, but now in the back of the pack, so we'll see if Jeff Montgomery, who was trying to start to make a move before that caution flag to the outside of Cody Ridge, but we'll get another restart here, and the green flag is out, and we have 6 laps now to go on this heat race.
The Montgomery car's got good momentum through the middle of the racetrack. One of our British Columbia contingent of drivers has worked his way up into the lead just before the halfway mark of this heat race. So Montgomery gets Ridge on the restart. Coleman's worked his way into third. That's Middendorf fourth in the 4 car. And Jake Austin has worked his way from the back row up and into fifth. We'll see if he can hold off Humphreys here, who's trying to work his way back up from the back.
Yeah, great move there on the 44 car. Todd Coleman able to jump up into that third spot. Just came down the backstretch right before turn number 3, but great move to be able to jump up into that third spot. Still chasing the 8 of Cody Ridge and the 33J of Jeff Montgomery. But as you said, it looks like the 0-2 trying to make some moves here. Going to the outside, coming around Eric Humphreys, trying to get around the 15 there of Jacob Austin, but a little bit too slow there going out of turn number 2.
Look at the speed that Humphreys has on the straightaway compared to Austin. It's like Austin's down a little bit of power, but Austin's car is also handling significantly better, and that might be the difference that you're seeing here. Now watch, as soon as Humphreys comes off 2, gets the wheels pointed straight, and we'll switch the shot, but it sure looks like he had more forward drive in the straightaways, but like a lot of sprint car racing, corner speed is the big differentiator in a lot of this, as we're going to get a easy win here from Jeff Montgomery. Montgomery takes the W. Ridge, long ways back. He'll end up second. Todd Coleman ends up third in our first little hint for the Granite Super Sprint Heat Races. Well, 3 heats down, 1 to go here in this final segment. Granite Super Sprint cars coming out once again. Another 8 cars. Going to go 8 laps around, and very talented field again getting ready for next week's War of the Wings show that you're going to see here on Home Track Heroes. Front rows, Chase Sabato, the First Line Systems Inc. 19. Next to him, Jay Dishnu, the Newman Racing number 9.
Sponsored by Tom Turner and Island Race, it's the 8A of Brad Allman. On the outside, the 14 of Aaron Willison, sponsored by Tri-X Group.
Row number 3, Cameron Neisinger, the Granite Construction number 12. Marty Rossler, the veteran, in car number 63, sponsored by Gidland Rossler Racing.
Troy Globe drives the number 11, sponsored by Brian's Auto Glass, and in the number 2 is Randy Anderson.
That second row is the action row, as all eyes will likely go to Aaron Willison in the 14. He has been absolutely on the edge of unbeatable when he's been here at Evergreen Speedway. He's been one of the best in the Northwest for a number of years. Now, Newman's going to have, Dishnu on the outside of row number 1 can have a pretty significant advantage here over Willison, is that he's going to have clean air, at least off the start, if he can clear Sabato going into turn number 1. And clean air makes a gigantic difference in the handling of these race cars.
You know, you talk about Aaron Willison. One of my favorite things about him is I could always see which car he was. He was the bright orange one with the bright white letters. Very easy to see. These cars go so fast, hard to see from the top of the grandstands as you're up in the booth as they get going. Green flag here, and like you said, the number 9 car, one to watch, Jay Dishnu with a great start there, but here comes the 14 of Aaron Willison. Willison on the high side coming down the backstretch into 3, going to go wide here into 4, and what a pass there by Aaron Willison in the 14.
Wow, Willison with the speed early on. I thought Dishnu might have a chance to get out and rabbit a little bit, but Willison just followed Dishnu right through on the start, made the pass, found the lane, and this one is going to be academic so long as the car stays together. Question is, how much is Willison going to win by, not if he's going to win at this point in time.
Yeah, and you see he's got at least a half of a front back stretch there in front of the number 9 of Jay Dishnu, and just crossing the start-finish line there. 5 laps to go, but incredible to watch the 14 of Aaron Willison here with a a great lead in front of Jay Dishnu as we are in the second of our heat races here with just about 4 laps to go now, halfway done.
So that's Sabado's 19 car that you're taking a look there, running in 4th. Behind him, a little bit further back, that's the 11 of Troy Globe that you just got a viewpoint of. These laps going by awfully quickly as already Willison down to just 3 laps remaining. Race for second, getting closer between Dishnu and Brad Almond from a very famous open-wheel pavement family here in the Northwest. Blink, you'll miss it. Willison clips through another lap. Holy cow.
Just so fast. And 2 laps here to go. We're going to see the white flag next time by for the 14 of Aaron Willison. And just like that, already into turn number 3. As you said, coming up on, the potential for his first car to lap, but the white flag is out. So he's just got 1 lap to go. Probably going to take it easy. No need to pass here as he is on his way towards that checkered flag.
Down the back straightaway for the final time. Thinks about going around Randy Anderson. And he'll tuck it in and take the win. There you go. So Willison gets the win. Almond closed on Dishnu late for the second spot, but he'll end up there. Sabado 4, Neisinger 5, and the rest of the field. Let's take a timeout. We'll get into, I believe, B-Main action coming up next here on Home Track Heroes. Segment 2 of Home Track Heroes today on KSTW. About ready to hit the racetrack B-Main time for the Interstate Batteries Hornets. I'm Caleb Hart. He's Greg Pyland. Our lineup looks like this. Donna Gillespie, the 024, right next to Donna. That's the 23 of Tammy White. They make up the front row.
Sponsored by Trueline Wheel and Frame, it's the 101 of Brian McNamara. On the outside, Tegan Bjornson in the 59, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports.
That third row is the 48 of Trinity Rosal, the CR Gutters car. And the 12C, Chad Fitzpatrick, returning to his roots into the Hornet division. He's sponsored by Trademark RCS.
Final row, it's the 32 of Preston Brandt, sponsored by North County Towing. On the outside, the 08 of Bobby Hauk.
They are on the boot for this 15-lap B main event, and this segment is brought to you by the fine folks at Angel of the Winds Casino Resort. With sports betting now, think you can pick a winner? Prove it at Angel of the Winds Casino Resort, the only home for sports betting north of Seattle. Exit 210 off I-5 in Arlington. Green flag is out, and we are underway here in the B feature. Top 4 going to have the option to join up to the back of the Hornet A main event tonight.
And I love you talk about the boot course here, and we see Tammy White with a good start here, your early leader in the 23 car, but right behind Tammy is going to be the 024 of Donna Gillespie, but just brings so many different features with different turns and things like that I think bring up a lot of exciting racing. And when they make that hard right-hand turn onto that first boot portion of this track, a lot of things tend to happen especially when we have a lot of cars out there.
I agree 100%. The boot has led to a lot of passing here in main events, and should be fun when we put 24 cars on the racetrack for their A main, and 30 laps coming up later on in the program. The 101 of Brian McNamara, currently the final transfer car. Rosal in the very pink, hard-to-miss number 48, the one trying to take it away from him, and as I work into this first of the left-hand turns, looks like Gillespie going to hold second, Bjornson and McNamara. Bjornson with a run on Gillespie going into the boot portion.
Yeah, the Shark, Tegan Bjornson, great move there. Going to still hold off Brian McNamara, not enough to pass by Donna Gillespie in the 024. But Brian McNamara right on the bumper of that 59 car as they make their way through the final turn and towards the start-finish line. Now 11 laps to go, but good job there from Tegan Bjornson, doing a great job staying firmly in that third spot. We'll see if he can be able to transfer to that main event later on this evening.
Tegan had a real good shot at Gillespie coming into the boot portion, but you saw Gillespie got off this corner with momentum better than Tegan did and expanded the advantage, at least the last time around. This time, way better corner coming off the boot for Bjornson, and Tegan going to stay close and looking for that pass going into the first turn.
Yeah, it looks like the 024 Donna Gillespie now just going a little bit wide, leaving the door open there for Tegan Bjornson. Bjornson's going to speed down that first initial backstretch, but having the inside lane in that first turn into the boot is Donna Gillespie and able to hold off. And McNamara, we saw the last time by, able to get to the low side of Tegan Bjornson, didn't have enough speed to stay with it, and Tegan maintained that third place spot. Almost happened the same thing just there.
This lap, it was Gillespie again coming off the corner with momentum and holding the spot. Bjornson and McNamara, third and fourth. Rosal, the 48 car, not close enough to do anything, at least for right now, as we're a third of the way into this race. And Tammy White's just in a different zip code. We haven't even seen her on the screen here in a minute or two. Holy cow.
No, for a second I was almost wondering if she went off into the pits, but you told me earlier to check the ticker at the top, and we see that Tammy White in the 23 car still in that first place spot as Bjornson once again takes a look to the low side on Donna Gillespie. But yeah, Tammy White just, maybe, who knows, she might have already lapped people. She might be working her way back up this field.
We've even had, a pretty zoomed out shot here that covers a lot of the corner, a lot of the turn, and we haven't seen Tammy in a hot minute. That's how far ahead she is. We're looking at McNamara, the 101, making a run on Bjornson and trying to shuffle Teagan back to the rocking chair position. The final spot within the lineup. McNamara made the run, couldn't make the pass down the front straightaway. He will reload and try again here as we enter the backstretch portion of this course.
And I kind of like what I see Teagan doing off of that final turn where he's going a little bit wide. He's staying in that high lane, but then he's able to maintain a little bit more speed. McNamara goes to that low side, but we'll see if Teagan, no, he's going to stay on the low side. He said, I don't want to have Brian having any kind of option to go to the low side on me out of turn number 4, but Teagan Bjornson had a great job there last time by as we have 7 laps to go. Still all Tammy White in the 23.
I saw White from the front straightaway shot way ahead, entering through the boot as the rest of the field was on the front straightaway. So that's how far ahead White is at this point in time in the program. White, Gillespie, the race we're watching is for third between Teagan Bjornson, the gray 59 car, the black 101 of McNamara, Trinity Rosal on the outside looking into the pink 48, trying to find a line to sneak up into the top 4 with a chance to make the main. However, time running very, very short.
And that's what I love about these B main events too, is obviously there's a lot that they're going for, right? They have that opportunity if they're one of the top 4 cars to be able to transfer in. Why wouldn't you want to transfer into the A main? You get to continue to practice, you get to continue out there and get some points for your car as you're racing in this division. But always nice to see these B main events that have that opportunity to be able to move up, and then who knows, starting from the back of the pack, you never know what can happen, right?
Very long race. Lots can go down. Meanwhile, back here further in the pack, we have got action and trying to pick off those cars. It's been forever since we've seen anybody other than second, third, and fourth. Here's your front straightaway shot once again for second, third, fourth, and fifth coming through. So that's going to be 6 and 7. And those drivers should be Bobby Hauck's 08 and Preston Brandt's 32. Brandt, the world's tallest Hornet driver. And I kid you not on that one. He is all of 6'6". He's a big kid.
So he's not fitting in a legend car then?
They could try. However, it would have to be a very large legend car. I think we call those dwarves. 3 to go. Bjornson still holding the spot over McNamara and doing it with about a 3-car length advantage.
Yeah, and so nice job here as we saw, we've been talking about this whole battle. It's been so exciting for that 3rd place spot with Teagan Bjornson and Brian McNamara, but Teagan has kind of found his groove here a little bit. There's McNamara still knocking on the door, but it's not as close as it once was, so good job there for the Shark.
We got word that Fitzpatrick has pulled off race car. He has told our NASCAR officials that the muffler bearing went out, whatever that means. There's an inside joke there. We're down to 2 to go, and in fact, going to be 1 to go for a car that's, running like a sprint car out here in Tammy White. Holy cow, Tammy's got to be feeling lonely as she'll work through 1 and 2 and down through the middle into the boot, and you can see a lot of speed being carried by White, smooth onto the back straightaway in the 3rd corner. And there you can see how far back Donna Gillespie was, just barely clipping into the screen. So Tammy White is going to get the win, and let's start the clock here as White wins, and that is going to be a 6-second gap back to Gillespie. Bjornson 3, and McNamara 4. They'll transfer into the back of the A-Main if they want. We will have A-Mains coming up next year on KSTW. You're watching Home Track Heroes. Main event time here on Home Track Heroes on KSTW. He's Greg Pyland. I'm Caleb Hart. One of our favorite divisions, the Youth Hornets, just because it's little kids, right? 12 to 14 years old, rolling around our 5th of the mile track. And let's give you the drivers, the boys and girls, who will be competing for this A-Main win. Keegan Mooney on the pole, the Crossroads towing number 11, and Jacob Funk going to be next to him in car number 8.
Then it's the 46 of Lola Crum, sponsored by JBR. On the outside, the 12 of Sage Frazier, sponsored by Party Chief Safety Apparel.
Lila Mashburn, inside row 3, sponsored by Olympia Pizza in the 31. Sawyer Holden, next to Lila, the 32, sponsored by LB Motorsports.
The 01 of Tanner Bjornson, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports. The 95 of Evan Delfell, sponsored by Mazda of Everett.
5th row, Paisley Bender. She's been the dominant force in the division. PRCBD sponsors the 18 car. Next to her, Cayenne Spear, the Mrs. Turner's Hometown Cafe, number 51.
And rounding out the field, the 39 of Andrew Zachary.
11 cars, 20 laps, a little bit bigger than usual for our field here in the Youth Hornets. As we'll let them loose, green flag is out, and just look at them, flock of Hornets. Youth Hornet version coming in to turn 1, and I think I saw the yellow lights blinking already.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was for the 8 of Jacob Funk, but he was able to correct that. That was a great job there, kind of getting a little bit loose, almost sideways out of turn number 2. Maybe it was the start here. They want to kind of group things together nice and tight, but it's, like you said, such a fun division to be able to watch these Youth Hornets.
So again, 12 to 14 years old. They're in the same form and fashion of Hornet cars that you're going to see running around on the boot here later. It's just, all right, race with your own age and figure it out. Learn, get better, right? As back to the front we go. And back to green. It's a good jump from the inside for Mr. Keegan Mooney, but right now the green lights are sticking on, at least for the time being.
Yeah, and like I said, great jump there for Keegan Mooney, and we're on board right now with the 46 of Lola Crum, and Lola doing a great job holding off the 8 of Jacob Funk, as Lola's going to take that single secondary spot here behind the number 11 of Keegan Mooney as they come across the start-finish line, but a lot of action too wide there with the 18 of Paisley Bender on the low side. You talked about Paisley earlier on, and Paisley doing a great job making her way through this field right now.
Ooh, Jacob Funk in the 8, full send around the outside. You don't see the third groove get used a whole heck of a lot. We got cars beating and banging into turn number 1 as Bjornson kind of leaning with the General Lee style paint job to the inside of Crum. Crum running the car you usually see, I want to say Olivia Reppin in the 46. As they continue to work their way through, it is Mooney leading, Bjornson 2, Bender 3, and Bjornson with the run on Mooney in the back straightaway.
What a great shot there. Down the back stretch, the 01 Tanner Bjornson goes to the low side of the 11 of Keegan Mooney. And Tanner Bjornson now going to take over that first place spot here with 16 laps to go. Paisley Bender in the 18 also getting by the 11 of Keegan Mooney. So Paisley in that second spot, and now we're going to have some issues here in turn number 2.
Funk's 8 car, one of them, the other, the 95, Evan Delfell, stopped, and I believe there's something pouring out the front of that race car. Let's take a second look around to the corner. Bang, and that's all it takes usually to knock a radiator hose off or something like that. So give them a couple of seconds. We'll clean up the wreckage, and we'll go back to action just a few laps into this, but already a lead change.
Yeah, and like you said, one of the favorite divisions out here, and we've talked about some of the drivers that have been able to graduate into other divisions. You talked about Riley Riddell earlier. We talked about Tegan Bjornson in the 59 and the Hornet B main, but so much fun to see these drivers kind of, be able to start building their skills as youths between the 12 and 14 years old, and then as they move up into some of these other divisions, we're building some lifelong racers out here at Evergreen Speedway.
So if you're unfamiliar, if you haven't seen a whole lot of pavement racing or Home Track Heroes programs before, there's a little white square patch now sitting off the inside of turn number 2, and that is Speedy Dry, or some of the racers like to call it kitty litter. You'll see them run that over as that's been put down to try to soak up the moisture that was coming out from underneath Delfell's car. Give them a dry surface to run on, although here at Evergreen Speedway, we run rain or shine, so they'll have to get used to running in the wet at some point. Bjornson leads, Bender 2, Mooney still in the 3rd spot, 6 laps into this, 14 to go. The laps will go quick as we're only on a 1/5 of a mile course here for the Youth Hornets.
And a great shot there of Lola Crum, and it looks like a nice pass there to the inside, trying to work on Lola Crum, and that is the 32, I believe, of Sawyer Holden trying to make the pass there, but Lola Crum doing a great job holding off. Now back to your leader, the 01, Tanner Bjornson, and somebody goes into the tire. That's going to be the 46 car of Lola Crum.
Well, Lola taking her aggression out on the poor innocent Ute tire in the middle of the 3rd and 4th corner here on the short track. So let's take a look and see how it happened. And, oh, yeah, a little help and thump. Well, that's why you wear the head and neck restraint coming in and around, because that makes that a lot easier. Nowhere to go. The Brandy Hood Promotions in-car camera shot, and that stinks for Lola. She'll go to the back of the pack, and that'll reset the front of the field.
And, some of these other divisions, you think there's probably maybe some people that are trying to potentially give somebody a nudge to get them off, but I don't think that typically happens here in this Youth Hornet division. They're all out there just trying to do the best they can.
So back to green we go. Bjornsson in front of Bender. Here's the in-car from Bender. As you see, she takes her way through the corner. Half a groove wider in 1 and 2. And very similar line in through 3 and 4 is driving into the sunshine. Off that turn, we'll watch her take another attack at it, going in the first corner, and again, entering just a little bit higher, diamonding the corner off to come off lower, and looking for opportunity to get around Bjornsson.
And Bjornsson just very impressed with Tanner in the 01 car, just doing a great job. As you said, Paisley has been so dominant in this Youth Hornet division, was last year, is this year as well, but Bjornsson doing a great job, doing everything he can to hold her off, and Paisley kind of going a little bit wide there down the backstretch. Now we're going to be coming up on a little bit of lap traffic here, as Cayenne Spear is going to go wide out of turn number 4 and allow the cars to pass on by. So great move. That was a veteran move by the 51 there of Cayenne Spear.
Spear doing the sportsman-like thing and getting out of the racing groove for your top 2. 8 to go this next time by. Bjornsson and Bender warring at the front of the field as they've done many times over the course of our Home Track Heroes program this season. Paisley right up on the rear bumper cover and looking for room underneath. Coming out of turn number 2. She's got a little run but can't get the nose all the way in there. They'll make some contact, but she has to back out of the throttle. Down to 7 to go, and Bender getting even more racy into the first turn.
And some great sportsmanship, I think, in that last turn number 3 and 4. You saw Paisley having a little bit of an avenue to be able to go on that low side, starts to run into the side of Tanner. Tanner starts to turn a little bit to the sideways. Like you said, Paisley backed off, and Tanner was able to recover. And so, all's fair there. Everybody still stays in their same spots, but now Paisley doing a great job going to the outside down the backstretch. They're going to be nearly side by side coming into turn number 3.
So Bender trying to use the high side on Bjornsson, coming in and through, and look out. The 11 of Mooney is facing the inside of the track. Caution lights will blink on. Contact there between Mooney and Holden for the second time coming through the corner, so caution flag flies. Funk and the rest of his friends just barely avoid. All right, so that sets us up. 5 laps or so to go. Bender had swung to the outside and maybe had a run on Bjornsson, but now she's going to have to do it all over again.
And it looked like Keegan Mooney there was trying to see if his horn still worked in that car, as he looks like he's given a few pounds there to the middle, upset about that. Obviously having a good run here so far as we go back to green flag racing. Just as you said, 5 laps here to go. Tanner Bjornsson out in front with Paisley. Bender now taking a look to the low side just off of turn number 2. Great run coming off of 2. Now having to slow down just a little bit as Paisley had the advantage, but now going to be side by side with Bjornsson as they come out of 4.
Boy, Bjornsson fought to get that car back down Raceway, and Bender, if she'd kept her foot in the gas, the term that racers used is covered. And by covered, you kind of have a right to the lane once your front tires get up to the numbers of the car ahead of you. So if Paisley had gotten there, she could say, hey, I had you covered. You can't come down and pinch me any further than what you did. But she didn't. It almost looked like she backed out of it 2/3 of the way there on that attempted pass. Let's see if she goes out to the outside again. She'll take another swing, coming off the 4th corner, going wide on Bjornsson.
Yeah, and a great move there, and still nearly side by side, and it looks like Paisley's going to stay in that same lane, kind of working that outside lane on Tanner Bjornsson, trying to do anything that the 18 car can do right now to get by the 01 as they come into turns 3 and 4 here once again, coming off 4, and the white flag is going to be out. 1 lap to go for the 01 of Tanner Bjornsson.
Bjornsson's counter move to Bender getting on the outside has been to take his car wider, force her right up on the ragged edge of the racetrack. Going to be a barn burner coming down to the final lap. Off the corner, Bjornsson gets really wide, but Bender noses just far enough ahead to get the win by just hundredths of a second over Bjornsson, and Sage Frazier ends up 3rd. We'll go to the podium for our winners' interviews.
Sage made your way through that 10-car field, managed to make your way up and take home this 3rd place finish. What would you say was the hardest part of that race?
Probably the start. It was hard just trying to get around everyone.
You had to hold off the number 46 of Lola Crum. You've run this division for a while. What is it like seeing some of these drivers who you've raced with for such a long time in your rearview mirror?
I don't know. It's nice seeing everyone that I raced with when I was really young out here with me still.
And who would you like to thank for this third place finish?
I would really like to thank Steiner Racing, especially for helping me with my car, and JBR, and Elk Heights, Herring, Fisher Meats, Eric Gray, Handy in the Valley, Marcy Real Estate, Three Little Birds, and REB Engineering, and my family. And my family.
Driver of the number 12, third place tonight, Sage Frazier. Tanner, we'll get to the finish in a moment, but first I want to focus on you consistently have made your way to the front real quickly in that 01 car. How do you navigate the traffic in this class?
Try to go around them. Just if you see a hole, go to the hole.
Now, to that finish, you and Paisley out of turn number 4 was a drag race. What more do you think you needed to just edge her out?
Maybe a not flat tire, but other than that, just more traction.
Who would you like to thank for taking home this second place?
My mom, my dad, my grandma, GDX Garage Doors, Whiteside Steel, Stilly Auto Parts, everyone that came out here, and my YouTube channel at Misfit Motorsports.
Driver of the 01, Tanner Bjornsson, second place. All right, Paisley. Out of turn number 4, it's a drag race between you and Tanner. What's going through your mind at that moment?
Honestly, I was praying. I was like, I want this so bad, and it was just so fun, and I was really shocked.
You've had a great run this season and throughout your career here in this class, running with a lot of the same drivers. I know you've mentioned in the past wanting to try something new next year. What sort of thing are you looking towards?
Anything but you, because I've just been here for 3 seasons. Oh my gosh, three seasons. Sorry, and I just want to move up.
Who would you like to thank for your performance out here tonight?
I really want to thank Freddie Ballinger, may he rest in peace. Doug and Tracy Hobbs, Evergreen Speedway, the Jack Stillwell family, Art by Nature, PRCBD, Wagley Creek, 2.5 Men Barbecue, Shyline Socks, my Uncle Wayne, JBR, Joe's Racing Products, Pro Lions, Cox's Racing, Hammerhead Fabrications, and Bill Hunt.
Driver of the number 18, race winner in the Youth Hornets, Paisley Bender.
Well, you saw the Youth Hornets. It's time for the Adult Hornets, the Interstate Battery Hornet A main event. About to hit the track for 30 laps on the boot, Greg. This will be a good time.
Always excited about the boot, and 30 laps can't beat that. So we're going to start at the front. The 2 of Jason Karenberg, sponsored by His Wallet. The 20 of Riley Riddell on the outside, sponsored by DL Enterprises.
The second row, Elijah Delfeld, Gino's Pizzeria in Lake Stevens sponsors the 22, and the 19 of Scarlett Fisher, sponsored by North Sound Fence.
Row number 3, it's the 06 of Chuck Fisher, sponsored by DCL Construction. On the outside, sponsored by Olympia Pizza, it's the 30 of Pat Folger.
Row number 4, Hair Inc. sponsors the 717 of Diesel Snyder, and your defending track champion in the 33, Ryan Hausenflux, sponsored by Cornerstone Homes.
Sponsored by Valley Asphalt, it's the 17S of Gino Solomon. On the outside, the 77 of Christian Miller, sponsored by Turbo Espresso.
Row number 6 is the 88 of Garrett Kramer. Northwest Security and Sound sponsors him. Next to him, Zach Bristol 07, sponsored by Gourmet Latte.
And row number 7, sponsored by Hair Inc. It's the 15 of Matt Snyder on the outside. The G2 of Brad Gruel, sponsored by Granite Falls Community Chiropractic.
Our 8th row is Dan Miller, the 00, sponsored by Exterior Wall Systems, Inc. Next to him, it's Bobby Fisher's 81, sponsored by North Sound Fence.
Then it's row number 9, the 25 of Steven Dodson. On the outside is the 59 of Tegan Bjornsson, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports.
Row behind them, Joe's Speed Shop sponsors the 28 of Ethan Payne, and the 101 of Brian McNamara, sponsored by True Line Wheel and Frame. Final row, Donna Gillespie's 024, Trent Gillespie's 025, although it's going to be a 08 when you look at it, and he's sponsored by Burger Madness as we are underway.
Yeah, and some great in-car looks here from Jason Karenberg, Pat Folger, the 33 of Ryan Hossenfluck, and look at that 3-wide. I can see Bobby Fisher in the middle of one of those 3 wides as they come out of that boot into turns 3 and 4, but a lot of action, a lot of cars out here, 24 cars, I think, if I counted correctly.
Man, there's a bunch. There's more than enough, that's for darn sure,
right,
as they roll around this racetrack. And there is side-by-side, darn near 3-wide action. all over the place. That mid-pack is scary right now.
Yes, indeed. As they come out of turn number 4, your leader coming across the start-finish line, and look who it is, the 20 of Riley Riddell. So Riley doing great, and look at that 4 wide at one point coming out of turn number 4. Just absolutely incredible, and this is what we look to see in these A-main events. A lot of car counts, a lot of action here as, once again, Bobby Fischer right in the middle of what could maybe be considered a 5 wide because they were in a nice big old grouping there just about touching.
But there were 4 wide for a second there as Snyder and Folger almost became the sandwich between the bread of the cars behind him. It's impossible to try to pick what you want to race. As look out, somebody went full send onto like the 5/8 mile coming through. Whoops.
Yeah, might have been there that 22 of Elijah Delfell just decided, oh, there's Elijah right there in that second spot right behind Riley Riddell. So Elijah's still looking good, but lots of fun here early on. Diesel Snyder. So when we look at Elijah Delfell, Diesel Snyder, Riley Riddell, you have 3 former youth Hornets in your top 3 right now in this race. Very exciting.
Oh, this is a best-case scenario for Riley Riddell, too. Not only out and running away, but no one close to him for the time being is, 22 of Delfell off the pace for a second. I wonder if you missed a shift. Look out, Uke Tire. Okay, phew, they made it through. They're good. This it's a lot to keep up with at the moment. Is you get the 19 of Scarlett Fisher, and Fisher trying to hold off and hang on to the position that's in behind her, and that's Snyder 717. No, it's somebody else trying to take it away from Scarlett. Is look out. Around goes Diesel Snyder. Fisher back to second. It's Christian Miller in the 77 who's now in third.
Yeah, unfortunate there for the 717, but what a recovery. Goes into the tire, able to recover, and now right behind the 77 of Christian Miller is Diesel Snyder. So great recovery there. Unfortunate to see as Diesel was in that second spot on this last lap, and that opens the door for the 19 of Scarlett Fisher. Now currently sitting in second, but here comes Christian Miller.
Miller looking to take the spot. A lot of these drivers, there's cars humming, working well, and they've got to be thanking Bardall for that. Bardall Manufacturing, located in Seattle, world leader in automotive lubricants with oils, additives, and lubricants for your car, truck, boat, or motorized toy. Pick the brand. Racers around the world rely on Bardall, celebrating over 82 years in business and operating in 90 countries. Make Bardall your brand. Well, working their way through, Snyder trying to figure out his way around Miller, and Miller got a long ways to catch up to Riley Riddell, who's all the way off screen already.
Yeah, Riley Riddell doing a great job, and a little bit further back you have the G2 of Brad Grewell that's right behind the 717 of Diesel Snyder, and then we have the 33 of Ryan Hassenfluck. You talked about him earlier, last year's champion, trying to make his way up through this field, but falling off just a little bit. He was awful close to Brad Grewell that last lap, but we'll see. Never count out the 33 cars. We have some issues there with the 77.
Yeah, I saw it coming out of the third turn the last time by. Miller showing smoke in the 77 car. Snyder in behind him, Grewell and Hassenfluck. Now, right now, that smoke is not indicative of a loss of speed, so I'm not sure what that exactly is. It's also a little bit of a different color. It's a darker, which tends to indicate a kind of oil smoke, not a tire smoke or something like that, but we'll keep monitoring as it's not consistent, and that's the weird thing about it.
Yeah, and it looks like Diesel Snyder, maybe something on that front driver's side tire too, is just now getting passed by the G2 of Brad Grewell, and there we see once again the smoke coming off the 77 of Christian Miller's. We are still green flag racing here, 20 laps to go, and Riley Riddell still your leader. And you know, we talked about a little bit earlier with Tammy White, and Tammy White was out of screen for so long. I don't know the last time I saw Riley Riddell, and there he is.
Well, and that means they're closing on him. Yeah. So watch Miller in second, although he is smoking, running down Riddell out at the front of the field. Grewell, a strong third at the moment. Brad's been a good, fast racer here at Evergreen Speedway times in the past. Hassenfluck moving up into fourth. Your defending champion. Nice run down the in and through and picking up the 4th spot.
Yeah, great job there by the 33 car, but Diesel Snyder still sticking with him, and we kind of saw Ryan Hassenfluck taking that same lane that Tammy was taking in that first B main event, and kind of really going to that high side right before that hard right-hand turn in the first part of the boot. And so we'll see if Ryan Hassenfluck can make that work as we take a look once again back at Brad Grewell and the G2, still chasing around the 77 of Christian Miller, but everybody's still chasing the 20 of Riley Riddell, who's just exiting the boot now.
So Riddell continues to lead. Miller and Grewell will look a bit further in the pack as there is Bobby Fischer's 81 who started deep. Racing here at Evergreen Speedway, sponsored by Busch Beer, the official beer of NASCAR and Evergreen Speedway. Busch Beer, the sound of refreshment, crisp and cold as a mountain stream. Keep your fridge happy by stocking it with Busch and Busch Light. Busch.
All right, and like you said earlier, too, we lost sight of Riley Riddell for a little while, and look how close now the 77 of Christian Miller is behind the 20 car. Brad Grewell coming with him, as is the 33 of Ryan Hassenfleck. Still seeing that smoke coming off the 77 car, but now knocking on the door of Riley Riddell.
As we are still before the halfway point of this, and I think Miller's about ready to make a bid for the lead. Let's watch Riddell. Into the boot he goes. Now there is slower traffic looming ahead of him. Riddell leading Miller, Grewell, and Hassenfleck, all kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row coming off that corner. Riddell down the straightaway, going to hold Miller off for now, but Miller making a bid to the inside, bringing Grewell with him.
Look at that, 3 wide, your top 3. When was the last time you saw that coming down the front stretch? And Miller is the one that's going to lose out here as Riley Riddell stays to the low side as they come into the turn, and there's some contact with Brad Grewell.
Riddell got sharp into that corner, and Grewell couldn't slow the car down enough to get it rotated into the turn. Almost ends up fencing it. A nice save to keep a top 5 run here, but now it's Miller making the bid for the lead on the inside, and Ryan Hassenfleck taking advantage. He'll work to the inside looking for second on Riddell.
And he's going to look and remember what happened the last time to Brad Grewell. As we'll take a look once again at Grewell in the 07 of Zach Bristol, as Bristol goes wide of the G2 as to not cause any issues there. But, you know, now we see the 77 of Christian Miller out in the lead, the 33 of Ryan Hassenfleck in that second spot. Then Riley Riddell is going to fall back to third. But what a great race. You know, we're just over halfway through, 13 laps to go, but lots of action, lots of side-by-side racing. And the most important thing for me, a lot of, challenges for that first, second, and third spot, which has been a lot of fun to watch.
You know what we haven't mentioned in a few laps, minutes, whatever you want to call it, is the smoke on the Miller car. Looks like it has subsided at least a bit. Not visually evident for us any point in time during that lap. So whatever it was on the Miller machine subsided for now, and he's kept his speed up with Hassenfleck right there in second, and that was your 1-2 battle in points last year coming down to the end.
Once again, we see Riley Riddell and Brad Grewell, not sure if he was trying to go into the side of the 20 car, but once again, Riley gives him a little bit of nudge, and he goes a little bit wide down that backstretch back to your leader. And I think you're right, because what you used to see coming off of that final turn was a lot of smoke coming off of the 77. That's the second lap in a row. Haven't seen anything coming off of Christian Miller's 77 car, so things looking good, and he is out in front. And back now to the 07 of Zach Bristol and Diesel Snyder. It
is Bristol who's the man on the move here. He started not super deep in this field, but he's really picked it up over the last 10 laps. He's got a podium position right now and is close enough to your lead pack to do something. Grewell gets clear of Riddell. He's going to be kind of thankful that he won't be having to go side by side into the boot with him again. As Miller looking to hold on, Hassenfleck right in there, Bristol closing, and slower traffic looms.
And Miller gets through there, even there. And here comes Zach Bristol, though, on Ryan Hassenfleck. So Bristol to the low side as they come out of this final turn down the front stretch. But great move there, as you said. Kind of started in the middle of the pack, the 07 of Zach Bristol. And now he is passing the 33 of Ryan Hassenfleck for that second spot.
So Bristol the second. We're down to 9 laps to go. They work in through the boot. Miller, a lot of speed coming through. Going to shuffle Bjornsson back a position. Every slower car that he can put in between himself and Bristol going to be a big deal as we're down to 8 to go. But Zach Bristol is coming. He looks like the fastest car on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, he's looking awful sharp, and a lot of fun to watch that 07 car as we see Bobby Fischer just coming across the start-finish line. Another great racer out here in this Hornet division. All eyes still on the 77 and the 07 as Christian Miller still holding off Zach Bristol, but you got to wonder for how long. And in that third spot, it looks like Bjornsson just gets wide enough for the 33 of Ryan Hassenfleck to pass by. So no more lap cars in between them for the time being as Christian Miller comes across with 7 laps to go.
Right up on the back bumper cover of the 77 is the 07 of Bristol, with the slower car of Brian McNamara looming ahead in the 101. To the back straightaway they go, and on to our third and fourth corner as Miller trying to keep Bristol at bay. 6 to go this time by. The pressure is on.
And McNamara here now going to maybe slow down Bristol just a little bit here as the 101 car, but no, he is going to go wide there. So Bristol able to get on by and still right behind the 77 of Christian Miller as they come into that hard right-hand turn into the boot. A lot of fun here, a lot of excitement that we've seen 3 wide. Some situations we saw 4 wide. So great racing here from this Interstate Batteries Hornets division.
Bristol getting through those corners a little bit better, but had to back out of it coming off the turn and is now slowing a little bit more on the front straightaway. As Miller got away from it, sure looked like Bristol might have had a run through the apex of that corner. Backs off of it. We're down to 5 to go. He makes up a ton of time through here as Miller continues to push pretty wide. Bristol did that time as well. And trying to run him down, a couple of car lengths between them as there's Gruel back on the hunt for the front. Gruel, the green and white, number 2. And he's going to shuffle Snyder back a spot and up into 4th.
Yeah, that's a great recovery there. We've seen a few different problems there for the G2 of Brad Gruel, and Diesel Snyder's going to try and be aggressive and go to the outside, but he's going to run into the lap car of the 101 of Brian McNamara. So there's just on the left-hand side of your viewpoint, it's going to be the 33 of Ryan Hassenfluck currently sitting in that 3rd spot. And once again, great battle there for that first place spot. Zach Bristol not enough to stay up with the 77 of Christian Miller, but still a few laps left to go here. 3 laps in this main event, and we'll see what the 07 can do.
This is going to give us a great indication of where Bristol is building speed here on this course, and it's to the low side coming off the corner right there. Bristol with the move. He's the door panel with him through the corner. The bid for the lead is on.
What a great move there coming out of the boot and just picking his perfect time, the 07 of Zach Bristol. Miller going to try and do the same thing as he tries to go to the low side. He's going to be there, but not in the right spot for that first right-hand turn into the boot. Great move there by the 07 of Zach Bristol to retake that lead, but man, Christian Miller is not falling down on this one, battling back. We'll see as they come into the final turn here and come down the front stretch. White flag is out, 1 lap to go now for your leader, the 07 of Zach Bristol.
This is not over. 2 of our best in the division going after it up in the front with a car length separating them as they'll make the turn onto the boot. Right hand for Bristol, smooth. Left hand for him, also smooth. Gets to the accelerator, and I think that's going to do her.
Yeah, great job here. The 07 of Zach Bristol coming into this final turn down the front stretch. Checkered flag is out. His hand is out the window. And Zach Bristol wins this main event. The 77 of Christian Miller is going to take 2nd, and 3rd is going to be Ryan Hassenfluck in the 33.
Heck of a main event for these drivers. It is time to go down. We'll go to the podium and get our podium interviews here in just a couple of seconds on Home Track Heroes.
We start with your 3rd place finisher, driver the number 33, Ryan Hassenfluck. Ryan, you had a good run in that number 33. Had to work through quite a bit of traffic, though. What is it like trying to weave your way through all those drivers?
Man, that's just what Hornet racing is out here. It's just, all these cars are pretty competitive. They're pretty equal, but it's just getting through the traffic. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So I got lucky tonight.
Made it work in that number 33 past champion. Right now trying to catch up to Zach to try and win this championship. You think you got time?
Well, no, because he's up here on first place every weekend. So it's kind of hard to catch up to the guy when he's better than you.
Who would you like to thank for that 3rd place car?
Oh, man, I got lots of people. Cornerstone Homes, those guys helped me out a lot. Edwards K&S Construction. Beast Fab and Tuning, those guys put the hearts in my cars. Rachel's over here. She's cheering me on. She's been my good luck charm for the last few races, so I'm going to keep her around. Grandma and Mom and Lucas are in the pits helping me out. Yeah, man, and that's it. Thank you guys all for showing up.
Driver the number 33, 3rd place tonight, Ryan Hassenfluck. All right, Christian, you had that hard battle between you and Zach. Wasn't able to hold him off, but walk us through those closing laps as you've got the 07 all over you.
Oh, that's the last guy you want to see in your mirror on the last couple laps. I knew he was faster than me, but I thought I could hold him off. My tires fell off in the last 5 or so laps, and it was just fighting the car to keep it in front of him. And unfortunately, I made one mistake. That's all you got to make.
Yeah, with Zach, sometimes that's just how it works. You had a great run tonight, also navigating through this traffic. You've raced with quite a few of these drivers before, but I want to specifically note on the 00. What is it like racing with your dad?
Oh, it's always a blast. I love racing with my dad. Racing family, Hornet's Nest Racing. Can't beat racing with your best friends and your family, you know.
And who would you like to thank for this 2nd place finish?
I'd like to thank Turbo Espresso, Rick's Mobile AC, Fast Eddie's Tire Pros, Matco, Brandy Hood Promotions, Hornet's Nest Racing. I think that's it.
Driver of the number 77, Christian Miller, second place. Zach, with this one, you make it back to back. Never since climbing behind the wheel of that Bennett Design and Construction 07, you seem to just be on point. Is that car just perfect?
Maybe for me, I don't know. I've never had a big high horsepower VTEC car. Finally hopped in one, and 3 wins, bunch of podiums, leading the points. Yeah, I think it's pretty fast with me in it.
Back to back, what is that like to do it Figure 8 Nationals and now come back Granite Night and come away with a second victory in 2 races?
Really awesome, and honestly, I thought we were done. If you guys were here for the heat race, we took on the access road wall, got in a mess up. Hornet Nest Racing guys, they all jumped in, somehow fixed that car. It was pretty bent, fixed it enough to where we can come out, and I thought once it cleared most of the pack, I thought it was going to be about 5th, and everybody fell off, came back to me, and like, all right, here we go, and got the win for it.
Who else would you like to thank for this first place finish tonight?
BDC, Bennett Design and Construction, Rich's Car Corner, Tommy and Candy Hibbs, that's Tommy's car. He keeps an eye and keeps it going for me. PMS Power Decals, Gourmet Latte, Townsend Peterson LLC. Obviously, these 2 munchkins, well, this one's taking the trophy tonight. But and yet again, Hornet Nest Racing, I love pitting with those guys. Help me, help them. The whole Hornet class, whatnot. It's a fun group to be a part of, and that's why I keep returning every year to run with them.
Back to back, driver of the 07, your race winner tonight, Zach Bristol.
Welcome back here to Home Track Heroes. Thanks for spending your Sunday night with us on KSTW. I'm Caleb Hart. He's Greg Pyland. It's time. Let's go back to the figure 8 course as we've got the Monroe Grocery Outlaw Super Stock figure 8s for their 30-lap feature. Let's take a look at it. Jeff Talbert's on the pole, the Pilcheck Heating 72. Next to him, Harrison Hardwick in car number 19.
Row number 2, it's the 67 of Mackenzie Dietz, sponsored by BECU. On the outside, the 01 of Doug Delfell, sponsored by Mazda of Everett.
Third row, John Carlson, Mary's Towing, sponsors the 5 car. And Sheridan Vincent in 43, sponsored by Siskin Power Equipment.
Row number 4, the 76S of Chris Southard. On the outside, the 11 of Blaine Manning, sponsored by Be Happy Carpet Cleaning.
Fifth row, All Ply Roofing LLC sponsors the 63 of Robert Weldon. Next to him, the 69 of RJ Mackey, sponsored by Monroe Co-op.
And in that final row, it's the JE55 of Jessica Wilkinson.
So 11 cars, 30 laps. Talbert's got the front row, and right next to him is Hardwick. As this group will get up and going, you see the wonderful in-car shots. It's almost too much to process. You got to pick which one you want to watch here for a second or two.
Yeah, we'll see here as it gets very exciting here. Blaine Manning, RJ Mackey, Chris Southard here as we come around the bend here. And the 72, Jeff Talbert, looking awful sharp here early on. Going to be on the inside as we come into the final 3-4 turn or north-south pole, whichever way you want to go. But the overall thing is the 72 of Talbert out in the lead. And here comes charging hard is the 5 of John Carlson.
That's a good top 3. Talbert, who's looking for his first win. Dietz sitting in second, and up in the third spot now is Carlson. That's going to be a wicked top 3 to watch over the course of this event. As up front, Talbert, Dietz, and Carlson 1, 2, and 3. McKenzie has got a lower line on Jeff coming through the right-hand set of turns. We watched that, though, in the heat race as well. She was unable to take advantage of it, at least over the course of that.
Yeah, and probably what she wants to see at this point, too, is you don't want to let Jeff Talbert just continue to be single file here and kind of take those low lines that we know are going to be the fastest routes. And right there, Mackenzie Dietz tries to go to the low side. It had almost an opportunity there, but Talbert able to speed up a little bit and close that door, and a little nudge there from Mackenzie to let Jeff know, hey, I'm right behind you. I'm coming for you right now.
She's got to be careful, though. She steps too far out of line. Carlson's going to be ready to pounce as the 5 car, very adept at being right place, right time here on this figure 8 course. This time by will be 5 laps into this race. Talbert, Dietz, and Carlson, and they are separating themselves from the rest of the field.
Yeah, and then you start to see what we're going to start to see here fairly soon with an 11-car field is maybe some action at this intersection. It's always fun to watch, and then you start to see what some of the thoughts are on some of these drivers. Are they going to slow down? Are they going to lift? Are they going to just charge hard through this intersection? You know, some of these other divisions, we know exactly what those drivers are going to do. A lot of people have told us they never lift, but when Jeff Talbert out in front is faced with that decision, we'll see what the 72 does.
Mackie 69 had pulled into the infield for a second already, rejoins out at the back of the pack, so everybody stays up and running for the time being. Is nose to tail still 1 through 3. Nothing breaking loose yet between Talbert, Dietz, and Carlson.
Yeah, like you said, just a really tight group here with that top 3 as we have 23 laps to go. Doug Delfell in that 5th spot here, and it's going to be Hardwick in the 19 car in 4th as this group is trying to keep pace, that 4th and 5th spot with this top 3, but they sure are looking good, the 3 of them together here.
Carlson fades back a little bit coming through the intersection that time, but carries his speed a little bit deeper into the corner, hoping for a Dietz mistake, but couldn't capitalize on it, as now the intersection's starting to get busy as we are 8 laps into this.
And we see we have one car there. It's going to be the 69 of R.J. Mackey that stopped just right before the intersection. We saw the NASCAR officials just mentioning and pointing the flag towards that car that was sitting there, and still able to get things rolling there. So your top 3 able to be cleanly through that intersection. Once again, there's the 19 of Harrison Hardwick coming through that intersection as well. But all's looking good for the 72 of Jeff Talbert out in the lead with 10 laps down, 20 laps now to go.
And this is kind of an unfamiliar position for Talbert, as we've seen him pick up a podium or 2 and have some good runs, but I don't remember him out in front of the field really setting the pace a whole heck of a lot. So unfamiliar for Jeff for the time being, but so far so good. And Mackenzie Dietz, she's tapped him a time or 2, but definitely hasn't moved him, gotten him loose at all. Talbert's done a good job of that time or 2 that she has thumped him, been ready for it, and kept his composure.
And now we're starting to see Talbert had to slow down just a little bit. You know, the timing is so impeccable here. And, you know, one of the things that I've always noticed, too, is they come off of either the South Pole or the North Pole. That car that might be in that 2nd spot, maybe looking to make a pass, they lose that opportunity to see who's coming off of the other turn and be able to have that proper timing. So probably a good idea right now for the 67 Mackenzie Dietz, be able to maintain that vision of who's coming into the intersection, not to get into trouble. And right now, Jeff Talbert doing a great job leading this pack through.
Talbert continuing to hold the top spot. Dietz doing everything she can to try to figure out her way around as they navigate an intersection that is getting busier. Carlson, the blue with red number 5, has just been in that spot waiting for something to break loose time after time, but so far Talbert nor Dietz have made the big mistake. Let's look a spot further back. This is 4th and 5th, and Doug Delfell, the Grizz, getting into it as Wilkinson facing the wrong direction and caught a little bit of Blaine Manning's 11 in coming through the intersection, and Southard going to go around as well.
Lots of action. And now you see just with that, it looked like there was almost going to be a shakeup as we see a nice little replay there. Here comes John Carlson, and yeah, just a little contact right there.
Ooh, and Manning clips with the left front, so there was our first bit of chicanery going on there in the middle of the infield in the most dangerous intersection here in the state of Washington, the world, wherever you want to be. As we'll get a restart coming up here. In car we go with Robert Weldon, and they are Delaware style in behind Jeff Talbert in the 72.
Always love this Delaware restart, and Jeff Talbert, big advantage here, but look at that restart by John Carlson. Gets off to a great jump. Mackenzie Dietz doing an excellent job getting back to the advantage on the inside, but this time through, it's going to be the Cowboy John Carlson on the inside as they come into the South Pole area here. Right behind Jeff Talbert is the number 5 car. They come across the start-finish line now, 15 laps to go, but you know, great restart there by the 5 car. I thought Mackenzie was going to be able to reclaim that 2nd spot, but the Cowboy John Carlson able to hold on to 2nd.
So now Talbert will have to deal with the Cowboy in 2nd. Delfell, by the way, has moved his way to 4th, and that's a dangerous driver sitting in that 4th spot as well. As we take a look at it, this main event segment on Home Track Heroes brought to you by Tire Pros, the official tire dealer of Evergreen Speedway. Tire Pros, your one-stop tire retailer where honesty is the best policy, and they have a hassle-free guarantee. Tire Pros has all the national brands and offers a nationwide warranty on your tires. Go to TirePros.com. Well, Cowboy leaning a little bit harder than Mackenzie was, definitely making full use of the front bumper on the 5 car.
And, you know, Doug Delfell, we saw him kind of falling back a little bit with Harrison Hardwick in that 4th and 5th spot. Now that Delfell has gotten around that number 19 car, the 01 is keeping pace, doing a great job up there with the 67 of Mackenzie Dietz, who is still following very closely behind the 5 of John Carlson and the 72 of Jeff Talbert. And Talbert still holding off the number 5 car. We'll see for how long as he's charging hard. And there's Harrison Hardwick once again.
Back up to the front we look. Talbert swinging wide was Carlson there. And gap open for Dietz for a second as we're going to have some drivers leaning on each other back in the field. Vincent and Wilkinson. I believe Wilkinson might be down a lap or so, but just coming back after Vincent here going into the corner. So those two having a really good race.
Yeah, a lot of fun to watch the 43 there of Sheridan Vincent and the 55 JE of Jessica Wilkinson going back here and forth. And we'll take a look here. There comes your leaders just through the intersection. Still the 72 of Jeff Talbert, John Carlson, Mackenzie Dietz, 1, 2, 3, as we're now into single digits, 9 laps to go.
It's a heck of a race for Jeff Talbert, but he's got one of our best in behind him in the 5 of Cowboy Carlson. We've seen Talbert make that same corner a number of times, and nobody's been able to capitalize yet as he leaves the bottom just open enough, but keeps way enough speed to get back on the accelerator and beat him into the next turn. Once again, into the corner. Carlson using the front bumper on Talbert to let him know he's there. Dietz in the 3rd spot, looking for opportunity, and Delfell a tight 4th.
And just getting to the back end there is the 72 of Talbot, so able to get cleanly through there. We'll see what happens this next time through the intersection. No problems there, but Talbot was very close last time as we see a lot of smoke coming out of here, and it looks like maybe a car's heading off into the pit area.
So somebody off racetrack, never to be seen again. All right, we don't know never to be seen again, but hopefully the next time that the Superstock figure 8s are here is getting a look. Hardwick and the 43 of Vincent battling out for what should be about 5th position here in this running order. As once again, 1 through 4 coming at it. Robert Weldon, 63, causing some trouble. However, it doesn't end up hurting Talbert.
And taking that low line is the 63 of Robert Weldon, so everybody having to go all the way around. The 72 Jeff Talbot gets cleanly through, as does the 5 and the 67. And so this time it'll see Weldon go a little bit wide there and letting Doug Delfell go through. But lots of action there as they come across. And here comes John Carlson to the outside.
Carlson saw opportunity when Talbot checked up a little bit for the intersection. Talbot trying to get him back, but he's on the wrong side coming into the South Pole. There goes Carlson around. New race leader in through the intersection is John Carlson, but Dietz into Wilkinson. Problems in the intersection. Mackenzie Dietz and Jess Wilkinson. A big-time smash right in the middle of the racetrack.
And Mackenzie Dietz was just getting around the 72 of Jeff Talbot, trying to hold on to that 2nd place spot. We talked about the vision. Losing that vision when you're side by side just goes into the side of the JE 55, Jessica Wilkinson, but not much that Mackenzie Dietz could do. Kind of trapped on the left side, not a lot of room to go to the right, and just makes contact with that JE 55.
Wow, yeah, and you saw how fast that happened there on the replay. Mackenzie had absolutely nowhere to go at the point in time where she saw Jess spun out in the middle of the intersection looking right at her. That's a rough break.
Yeah, I really hate to see that with somebody that was running so well in this race in that 3rd spot, then in 2nd, but unfortunate here, but it looks like the 67 Mackenzie Dietz gets things running once again.
So important here too, and I think what you're referencing, so Talbert's now back up in the top spot. The lap that Carlson took the lead, that lap wasn't complete yet. So he hadn't been scored as your leader. Last complete lap in front is going to be Talbot, and that's what gives him that top spot once again here on this restart.
Yeah, so that restart, John Carlson now in the 2nd spot, back behind the 72 of Talbot. Mackenzie Dietz we see now back behind. It looks like maybe that's the 01 of Doug Delfell that got around the 67. That's going to be in that 3rd spot as we come through next time by. But like you said, big break there for the 72 of Jeff Talbot as it looked like John Carlson was going to get around and just be running for this final race.
So we're down to 2 to go, and Talbot going to have to play some strong defense here at the very end with Carlson right in on his rear bumper. Intersection clean for the time being. Talbot looking for his first win. 1 to go. With Carlson in behind him and Doug Delfell, the Grizz looking for a podium as well. This could be a cool top 3. Through the intersection for the final time. One more big left turn to make. And congratulations, Jeff Talbot getting his first Monroe Grocery Outlet Superstock main event win. 2nd to Carlson, 3rd to the Grizz. Let's talk to him down at the podium.
Longtime competitor out here at Evergreen Speedway, coming home with the podium tonight You were patient, made your way through the field, and took every chance you got. Is that what experience teaches you here in the figure eight classes? Patience?
Well, geez, I don't know. In the old days, I think that helped, but nowadays, I think you just got to push, push, push. But, you know, I got lucky because I finally got past that 19 car, and then Mackenzie, I didn't know she was lame, but I got to inside and got away from her, so she's tough. All these guys are tough. It's a good time.
You've raced this class a long time. What is it like seeing some of these drivers over the years slowly improve and continue to battle with you?
It's awesome. We need them. We need every single person that wants to come and race figure eight because the auto racing sport is suffering and figure eight is probably suffering every bit as bad.
And who would you like to thank for this performance?
I'd like to thank Mazda of Everett, Powder Coating Inc., and they do sandblasting also, Nutty's Junkyard Grill, and the Snow Owl Auto Body Tech for painting up my car and making it look decent.
Driver the number 01, third place tonight, Doug Delfell. While many of your outlaw friends down in Colorado right now, you stay here and you come home with a second place tonight.
Yeah, it would be fun to be back there to run with those guys, but having to run the 5-car for points this year, I had to be here tonight to do that. That was a lot of fun, and congrats to Jamie over there getting his first win. That was a lot of fun racing with him. We had a lot of fun there.
That number 5 car looked fast. What more do you think you needed just to get around the 72?
Well, more cars, intersection, that helped me out on that one ordeal, but we had that caution and go back to the last completed lap and gave him the lead, and with only 4 laps left to go, he was running a really good line, so it was just short of putting a bumper to him, knock him out, and I wasn't about to do that to him because he deserved to win tonight.
Who would you like to thank for this second place finish?
I got Mary from Mary's Towing. She's the one that pays the bills, allows me to drive the hot rod for her, and her guy Chris that brings the truck and trailer and the car out for us every weekend.
Driver the number 5, the Cowboy, John Carlson. Jeff, I've seen you up here on the podium time after time. You came home second a while back, and I asked you, what's it like to come home at that position? You said, I'd rather be first. Now, you're here. You did it. You led almost all of that race. Come home with the win. What is that like?
I'm speechless a little bit. A lot of emotions. I do this for my grandpa, whose number that is, and to be able to do this in my 3rd year, I'll take it every day. I'll take it every day.
Racing up there with legends like Delfell and Carlson, to beat them out to grab the first win, how does that feel?
I mean, it's always good to beat the best guys. I mean, that's what we're here to do and try to do, and we learn from watching them, you know, as a kid or just on the track watching the lines, and it paid off this time for me.
Who would you like to thank for this win?
I got to thank my wife, my kids, the Wilkinsons, Jim and Jessica, Harrison, Pilchuck Heating, Stephanie's Hope. These people are amazing. This one's for Grandpa.
Driver of the number 72, Jeff Talbert, your race winner tonight.
Well, that was a super fun time around the figure eight track. Let's do it again. Buzz In Steakhouse Stinger 8's coming up next for their main event here on Home Track Heroes. He's Greg Pyland. I'm Caleb Hart. We're excited to have you in here with us on Sunday night. The poll is Andrew Renders, sponsored by the Always Whidbey Donuts, of which we have no Whidbey Donuts to eat here at the moment, but we'll forgive Andrew this time. Next to him, Talon Kolar's 19, sponsored by Ray's Espresso of Machias.
Row number 2, sponsored by Papa's in Monroe. It's the 16 of Peyton Hopp. On the outside, sponsored by DL Enterprises, the 20 of Riley Riddell.
Third row, Damon Claiborne. Car number 43 is sponsored by Abendroth Equine, developing the horse and rider. Next to him, Jackson Beckel, the 18J, sponsored by JBR Racing.
Row number 4, it's the 102 Randy Moffitt, sponsored by B&R Drywall. On the outside, the 151 of Cody Weldon, sponsored by Allply Roofing LLC.
Final row's Donna Gillespie. She is in the 024 next to Donna. Josh Beckel in the 83. So the Stinger 8 races, typically a little crazy, but this field, not as deep as we're used to, might give a little more tame intersection. We'll see how it ends up shaking out.
Got at least one car. There's the 20 of Riley Riddell running two different divisions here tonight in the Interstate Batteries Hornets and now with the Buzzin' Stingrays. As we are in car with Peyton Hopp, and green flag is out and we are underway. And nice jump there by the Andrew Renders car, as it looks like we are rolling through here. There's the 19 of Talon Kolar out in the lead.
Hey, I usually yell at the drivers for not having driving gloves on. Well done, Peyton Hopp. Kudos to you. You were listening for comprehension. You get an A, maybe even a gold star. Battle for second, Rudell and Renders. And Rudell, again, kind of spreading his wings here on this episode of Home Track Heroes, doing some Stinger 8s, doing some Hornet action, and right now holding on to second with Jackson Beckel in one of the potent JBR cars trying to sneak to the outside of Renders for third.
So Talon Kolar in the 19 out in the lead, still the 20 of Riley Riddell. There's the 40 of Andrew Renders. There's the 18J Jackson Beckel we saw earlier on in the heat race this evening. And Jackson Beckel, obviously somebody that used to running to this front of this division, so we'll see what the 18J can do as he's right behind the 40. Then the 102 of Randy Moffitt also doing a great job here early on in this race.
Beckel in the 18J, the last time through the left-hand turns, I saw just a hint of smoke, and I think it happened as he jumped onto the brakes. So if he's got to heavily brake at some point in time over the rest of this evening, and there it was again. It wasn't apex of the corner, it was before the center, it was coming off the right rear of that car. Made it awfully interesting. Now look out, 151 of Cody Weldon, who has been a magnet for intersection fun this year, is in the intersection with your lead pack coming through. All right, did I say the intersection might be a little more tame? I take it all back. Let's see what happens.
It's almost like Cody Weldon heard what you were saying and then kind of paused a little bit there before just decided to just go straight ahead towards that intersection, but just sneaks through.
It was like the commentator's curse reverse hold, right? Yeah. I tried to speak into existence a calm intersection, and the world went, not so much.
Not tonight.
No way. It's a good race for third. Render's doing a nice job holding off Beckel, and Beckel just, love tap coming into the right-hand corner. However, Renders drives away, and that allows Claiborne to get in close.
And Damon Claiborne, great driver in this division in the 43 car. He's trying to take a look to the outside of the 18J of Jackson Beckel. Beckel able to shut the door, at least for the time being, and able to cut across just in front to make sure that the 43 of Damon Claiborne not able to go to the low side. And another nudge there. So Jackson gave the nudge the last time, and this time Damon Claiborne's going to return the favor.
Donna Gillespie slow through the intersection. Meanwhile, coming up on Weldon, and that's allowed Renders to get to the inside. Look out, Weldon. Look out! O'Reilly Durdell gets the worst of that, as he's going to lose 4 spots. Renders, Beckel, Claiborne, and Josh Beckel all get past him, as Riley couldn't deal with the 151.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Riley Riddell to get caught up behind the 151 of Cody Weldon. As we take a look back to your leader, the 19 of Talon Kolar. Big lead there for the 19 car. The excitement happening right now between the 18J and the 40. That's Jackson Beckel and Andrew Renders as they come across through turns number 1 and 2, and it looks like a nice train here with Damon Claiborne and the 83 of Josh Beckel, and they're all charging hard here, and here comes Josh Beckel to the inside of Damon Claiborne.
If we get another closer look at the nose of the Beckel car, look how aggressive the front bumper is on that car, and look how far from the nose that it extends. Oh, has he got a whole lot of Damon Claiborne, and Claiborne got a little Josh Beckel for his action. Yeah, there's no nepotism there, I swear. as Beckel's going to work his way. And that let Rudell get back by a couple of cars.
Yeah, nice to see Riley Riddell being able to take advantage there. But looks like maybe a flag is being flown there for the 83 car there of Josh Beckel. But like you said, sometimes dads have to take care of their sons, and that's exactly what the 83 did.
Hey, listen, you thump on my kid, I'm going to thump on you.
That's right.
Race car version, right? So Beckel back in, up on Renders, who is second, and he's a long ways back from Talon Kolar here. Jackson into the corner, and we've seen a lot of contact. These drivers, you usually see a more active intersection and not so much of that just leaning on a guy in front of you, but boy, have I been wrong on this one. Rudell closing back in as well, making it a 3-car siesta for the second spot.
And you said, too, like the intersection action, and even in some of these turns here, we're going to see probably another little nudge there from Jackson Beckel as they're working their way. And like you said, that front bumper of his just protrudes so far in front of that car that he almost can't help but to run into the back then, as he does once again to Andrew Renders. And now trying to sneak to the inside, almost pushing Andrew to the side. but great recover there from the 40.
Renders full saw on the steering wheel, forcing Beckel to the point that if he wanted to keep accelerating, he was going to go right into a Uke tire. Rudell is closed in. Claiborne's right back in on that battle as well. A second through fifth is something here.
And Talon Kolar here once again out in front with a big lead, but there's a lot of things happening at that intersection. Every time your leader, the 19 of Talon Kolar, comes through, not so much for the 40 or the 18J, as we see Jackson Beckel trying to work his way to the outside of Andrew Renders. He's going to be on the inside now, making that pass into second.
So Beckel finally gets the run that he needed to get by Renders, but now Weldon going to jump right in. So Weldon forcing Beckel way around on the long side of this racetrack. But Beckel is going to get there. You see Renders trying to force his way in, but he couldn't quite do it. Side by side behind him, Claiborne, Josh Beckel, and Rudell as Weldon turned around and facing the inside, as apparently these drivers are just completely happy with having to repaint their cars this week because they're swapping some serious coming through. Claiborne makes the pass as looks like Rudell had a yard on the brakes for a second, trying to keep Renders behind him, and we're finally going to get a caution for Weldon.
Cody
wow.
Weldon really, he hasn't been running towards the top of this pack whatsoever, but we've sure been able to talk about him quite a bit because it's been a lot of fun to watch the 151 as we take a look in car here from Cody Weldon.
So Weldon's going to come in and just kind of get parked there for a second. Here's Claiborne's end of it, and to be fair, yes, Damon was the one who got him around and then got into Rudell, but Weldon was overcorrecting a little bit to begin with on it. It's a judgment call that our NASCAR officials have to make. We'll see how they end up stacking up and re-racking here, and this could be one of the most physical Delaware restarts we've seen all year.
And we saw Damon Claiborne coming through right before that caution flag. Talon Kolar just came through, but we saw almost some more intersection action there. Now they're going to be bunched back up once again with the 19 of Talon Kolar out in front for this restart. We have Damon Claiborne in the 43 car. We have the 40 of Andrew Renders. And out in front of them, it's the 18J of Jackson Beckel as we come through the intersection here once again. And once again, Talon Kolar leading this pack through.
Yeah, there's a lot of bumpers getting used in and through here, but on the restart, Kolar gets away and bringing Beckel with him. Claiborne has got the third spot. Renders shuffles back to fourth. We're watching the Buzzian Stinger 8 main event. First Line Systems is bringing you this segment, brought to you by First Line Systems in Kirkland. They provide top-of-the-line commercial drywall solutions and a proud supporting sponsor of the Granite Super Sprint Series.
So great job here still by the 19 of Talon Kolar, holding off Jackson Beckel, holding off Damon Claiborne, Andrew Renders holding in fourth currently here, and Josh Beckel in the 83 still holding with the top 5 right now as Peyton Hobb coming up here into frame as they come across the intersection, across the start-finish line now, 10 laps to go, and Talon Kolar trying to rebuild that lead he had before that caution, but right now, Jackson Beckel not letting him do that.
Sure as heck not getting away to the same extent that he was before. Single digits this time by. Kolar, Beckel, Claiborne are on a breakaway as they'll make their way in through the intersection, and Talon Kolar went from having a nice, easy race to all kinds of problems. Beckel makes his way to the inside on the South Pole.
Great move there by Jackson Beckel. Now as we come towards the North Pole, it's going to be Talon Kolar on the inside. And you kind of wonder here, is Jackson Beckel going to get caught on that outside and Damon Claiborne working his way to the low side? But lucky enough for Jackson Beckel, he's able to reclaim that low side on the South Pole. But, man, Damon Claiborne almost had an opportunity there to pass by the 18J.
It was a really good defensive corner from Kolar, who pushed Beckel out just far enough to reclaim that top spot unchallenged coming into the right-hand set of turns. 7 to go, and now Beckel needs to make up a car length to get back up to Kolar and try to get by him, with Damon Claiborne doing everything he can to try to take second away from the 18.
And it looks like Peyton Hopp still trying to get by the 83 of Josh Beckel, just out of frame here. Andrew Render still in that 4 spot. And Talon Kolar goes a little bit too wide there out of the North Pole. Jackson Beckel, though, not able to take advantage there.
He almost blew it, but he salvaged it by getting back downstairs to the throttle pedal early enough. Back of the field, I want to say that's Gillespie back there dragging the bumper around. So you got to be careful as now the intersection getting fun. Look out! Freight train coming through, and they're going to have to watch their throttle. Meanwhile, Kolar got the tap from Beckel, and Beckel going to make full advantage of this. No, and now Beckel has to slow for Gillespie, and that's going to cost him his bid for the lead again.
Yeah, really unfortunate there, and it looks like now getting pushed a little bit to the outside is Jackson Beckel, but the 43 of Damon Claiborne now going to be on the outside as they come into the South Pole area. But as you said, that last time through the intersection, Gillespie kind of slowing down and kind of almost going to the side a little bit, but that had to slow down the 18J. Talon Kolar able to capitalize, and now just 3 laps to go.
Kolar's collected the get-out-of-jail-free card a couple of times over the course of this main event. As we look a little bit further back in the pack, there is Hop getting by Beckel, bringing Moffitt with him. To the front we go, intersection, and Kolar around. Little front bumper used in the process as Beckel, with your race lead, at least for the time being. Claiborne, too. I don't know who's picked up third yet. Might be Kolar who's got it back. So Jackson Beckel in the 18, and we'll see what this signal is coming through. That is the white flag for him. 1 to go for the 18J.
Wow, what a break there, and it was the slightest bit of contact for the 19 of Talon Kolar. Just spins him around. The 18J able to capitalize, makes it through cleanly once again. Now all roads clear for the 18J of Jackson Beckel to take the checkered flag. And there it is, Jackson Beckel winning this tonight.
So Beckel, W, Claiborne 2, and Kolar is going to be a disappointed third, as that'll do it here for the Buzz-In Stinger 8 main event. Let's go down to the Angel of the Winds Casino Resort podium and our winners' interviews.
Well, that one's gonna hurt, I assume. 8-second lead evaporated, but still contending there. Walk us through those final few laps battling with Jackson and brain fart, Damon.
Fighting with Jackson was pretty fun, and then ended up hitting Riley. And I guess that's figure 8 racing for you. That's all we can do. And that's really about it. And thank my dad, raised espresso out of Machias, and that's really it.
All righty, good run tonight. Third place, the 19 of Talon Kolar. You recovered from a spin to make your way up front and take home this second place finish. How does it feel to be able to navigate the traffic like that and make your way back to the front?
It's always a lot of fun. It was a little rough tonight, but overall, I mean, I feel like everybody raced pretty good, and I don't know, man, it's just fun. We had some good intersection action. I mean, I feel like we put on a pretty good show, especially for the small car count.
10 cars put on as good of a show, I would say, as that 28-car field we had at Figure 8 Nationals. How does it feel for you to be racing with a lot of these drivers with such a varying group of people? Week in, week out, some appear, some disappear. Come away with a second place finish tonight racing against this group.
It's always interesting, the guys that aren't here every single race, you're not 100% sure what they're going to do in the intersection, how they're going to enter a corner, if they're going to go wide and then come back in. So it's always a little hard to predict those people, but for the most part, we got the same core group, and we all kind of know how each other drive. And no, it was a really good race. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Abendroth Equine developing the horse and rider, and new sponsor on board for this race and the rest of the season is Snow King Snap-on. Go see Chris Brostrom. He's with the sprint car guys too, so you'll see his I guess future son-in-law racing in the 15 cars. So
driver of the number 43, Damon Claiborne, comes away with second. Jackson, earlier on, you and I had a lovely conversation about your bad luck. That seems to finally have come to an end today. You grab another win for this season, try and increase your points lead. What is that like doing it here on this big stage?
I don't know. You just kind of, I don't know, really. You just get in the car and drive, I guess.
What was going through your mind there with 4 to go when you have Talon Sloan up in front of you and Riley coming through the intersection?
You know, I feel real bad for Riley. He's a teammate, and, you know, I'm sure I'll be working on that thing this week. And, you know, he was either getting sent, going into the left-hander, or he was getting pushed into Riley.
Who would you like to thank for this race win tonight?
Oh, you know, first people, Doug and Tracy Hobbs and Evergreen Speedway, best place to race in the country. JBR, my dad, Mike Marshall, Auto Works, PC, Stride Line, PRCBD, and yeah.
Driver the number 18J, race winner tonight, Jackson Beckel.
Final segment of the night here on Home Track Heroes on KSTW. I'm Caleb Hart. He is Greg Pyland. We've been waiting for this, Greg. It's time. Granite Super Sprint Car Series and their 30-lap A main. Let's get your lineup. On the pole for this one, it's Marty Rossler, the Gidlin Rossler Racing, number 63. Next to him, Michael Newman, car number 40, sponsored by First Line Systems, Inc.
In row number 2, sponsored by Granite Construction, it's the 12 of Cameron Neisinger. On the outside, the 44 of Todd Coleman, sponsored by Fleet Service.
Chase Sabato drives the 19. He's sponsored by First Line Systems, Inc. He's starting 5th, starting 6th. The 8 car of Cody Ridge, also sponsored by First Line Systems.
And row number 4, it's the 9 of Jay Dishnu, sponsored by Newman Racing. On the outside is the 4 of Greg Middendorf, sponsored by Middendorf Motorsports.
Row number 5 is Brad Almond. Tom Turner and Island Race Masters sponsor the 8A. Your 10th place starter, the 02 of Eric Humphreys, sponsored by R2H Dispensary.
In row number 6, it's the 14 of Aaron Willison, sponsored by Tri-X Group. On the outside, the 33J of Jeff Montgomery, sponsored by Dracor Construction.
Row behind them is Jake Austin, car number 15, sponsored by Austin Electric. Troy Globe next to him in the 11, sponsored by Brian's Auto Glass.
And in the final row, it's the 22 of Richie Larson. On the outside is the 2 of Randy Anderson.
30-lap race. Keep your eyes on that 6th row with Willison and Montgomery. Those two are absolutely lightning quick here as they are getting ready. War of the Wings coming up next week, and the final tune-up for that begins right now. We're green for our main event of the evening.
And look at that start there. It looks like maybe that was the 40 of Michael Newman with the great jump. Michael Newman on the high side there coming down the backstretch, but great start there coming from row number 2 as we see them coming out of turn number 4, and just like that, already 1 lap down, just so fast, and right now being led by the 40 of Michael Newman.
That was a bold move by Cam Neisinger, working to the inside and working his way up to 2nd already, and there's the man on the move. Willison knows you got to get through traffic quickly. You don't want to have to abuse your stuff too much, having to run down a leader out in front, as he's already trying to crack the top 5. Up front, Newman versus Neisinger. Newman with the advantage. Montgomery now coming through as well. That is the black with kind of undistinguishable number 33 car that's tucked in behind Sabato at the moment. Bid for the lead. Neisinger down low on Newman. He's got the preferred line, forcing Mike up racetrack into the middle of the corner and shuffling him backwards. Neisinger takes over the lead 4 laps into this.
And Todd Coleman, you said, watching that row number 6. Well, look who's coming up on the 44 of Todd Coleman in that battle for 3rd. We'll jump back there to a moment here. Right now, it's the 63 of Marty Rossler heading down the backstretch, looking sharp here as they come into turns 3 and 4. But, man, that 14 car of Aaron Willison coming up hot on the 44, and it looks like now Aaron Willison in 3rd.
Willison has made the pass, and now Willison setting sail for Newman, coming down the front straightaway. That gap gets really small in a hurry, and bye-bye, Willison will take over 2nd. And here's how fast Willison is. That car, the balance actually looked pretty upset in the middle of the corner, and yet he was still driving away. Almost looked like he was hiking up the left side tires as he got into the turn.
Almost going 2 wheels off the ground at one time, but man, he is fast in the 14 of Aaron Willison, still chasing down the 12 of Cameron Neisinger as we take a look back in the pack here. Once again, it's the 4 of Greg Middendorf and the 63 car of Marty Rossler as they are battling here back and forth. Rossler in that 7th spot, and it looks like the number 4 car now bumping up. That was the 4 of Greg Middendorf now going to be up into 6th.
Montgomery's 33, overtaking the 8 of Cody Ridge for position. So Montgomery on the move. Another, referred to the Almond family a little bit earlier on in the program. Montgomery, also a very famous last name in pavement sprint car racing, coming down off of the island. Trevor Montgomery, for years and years, one of the absolute best with the NSRA, owned track records all over the Northwest, and looks like Jeff continuing that legacy. Meanwhile, Coleman sneaking underneath Newman for the spot, and we got cars together violently with a tire finishing way far ahead and bouncing off the grocery outlet sign off the back straightaway. That is the 0-2 of Humphreys. Let's look and see what happened from Jay Dish's point of view.
And it looks like no contact whatsoever. The 0-2 of Humphreys just all by himself there, having some issues, spinning out just coming out of turn number 2. And like you said, that tire is rolling.
That tire probably came loose is what started the entirety of the spin. Big old shower of sparks in the middle of the corner. So Humphreys' run will be over. Let's stack this pack up and get back to action. Out in front, looking 2x2 style. Neisinger going to have to defend from Aaron Willison, and this is going to be challenging for him.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. I'm going to be watching in row number 2 on the inside, the 40 of Michael Newman. We saw what happened at the very beginning of this race. Newman with a great jump. We'll see if he can do it again, but he's going to have to go past Aaron Willison and Cameron Neisinger as they work their way into turn number 3, getting ready for this restart.
Accelerating and to the green. Willison. The view right off the right down tube into the corner, and bye-bye. Already 4 car lengths as he exits turn number 2. Say whatever you want to Aaron Willison. Sayonara, goodbye. Aloha also means goodbye. He gone.
Gone indeed. And Michael Newman, not a great restart there as we saw him coming across the start-finish line, falling back into 4th rather quickly. But as you said, Aaron Willison just with a huge jump there as we take a look a little bit further back in your pack. But man, just to see how quickly he is gone. Cameron Neisinger in that 2nd spot. Todd Coleman holding on to 3rd. And there goes that. Looks like that's going to be the 40 car of Michael Newman that's fallen back in the field.
And Newman loses a spot. Montgomery, who got passed back by Ridge on the restart. Now Montgomery bid to the inside of Cody. He will slide up, and he'll make the pass to close up into the 4th position. Field starting to string out. Granite Construction, proud sponsor of our Super Sprint Car Series and celebrating over 100 years in business. Granite Construction, an award-winning company, a great place to work. Find your dream job today at graniteconstruction.com. They bring you this main event here on Home Track Heroes as we have got problems.
Yeah, it looks like the 19 of Chase Sabato once again just kind of slamming on the brakes almost there, coming into turn number 3. Not sure if you saw anything different there, Caleb, but didn't have any kind of contact with the car around him and just ran into some issues.
I thought I saw a puff of smoke come up in first, so might have heard something going wrong in the power plant department, and jams on it, shuts her down, and says, well, let's hope we can save what we can save out of this engine because we got War of the Wings coming up, and you got to be ready for it.
Absolutely. So we're lining the back up, stacking them up side by side here. Aaron Willison on the low side, Cameron Neisinger on the high side in row number 1. Next row back, it's going to be the 44 of Todd Coleman, and then it looks like maybe that's the 33J of Jeff Montgomery on the outside.
3rd row behind him is Ridge and Brad Almond, battle of the 8 cars. As we're green, Ridge got sideways on the start. Everybody had to take evasive action in and behind him, but we come through, and there is Almond hard on the hammer. He went 6th to 3rd on this restart, and he's got a bid for 2nd coming.
Yeah, look at Almond just flying here as he's going to be behind Cameron Neisinger now trying to take the low side, going for turn number 2. Gets a little bit loose there coming into turn number 1, but still holding steady in that 3rd spot is the 8A of Brad Almond, and trying to catch back up is that 33J of Jeff Montgomery as we now have 14 laps to go.
Halfway through this, over halfway through this, Willison trying to get away and putting a lot of distance as Almond and Montgomery 3rd and 4th, a good battle, shower of smarks as they set the car and set the brake real quick. Car bottoms out when he got onto the brake like it did, and that unfortunately curbs a little bit of momentum. That allows Montgomery to go around, and he has got the 3rd position away from Almond.
And takes that 3rd spot going to the outside in turns 1 and 2, and now going to cruise back to the inside. Neisinger still holding firmly in that 2nd spot. Aaron Willison not in frame anywhere right now as the 14 car is out there cruising, but Cameron Neisinger holding off Jeff Montgomery for the time being as Montgomery's going to go wide in turns 3 and 4, trying to take a look. Now almost took a look, maybe back down to the low side, but holding firmly in that 3rd spot as there he goes to the outside once again.
He's got a good run coming off the corner. Gets to the outside, clean air in front of him and making the pass. Montgomery's got it. Shuffle Neisinger back to third. This has been Neisinger's best appearance of the year. It's funny how much better that car runs come August, as he has won some big money in the month of August here at Evergreen Speedway in our sprint car races. Having his best showing so far, but losing ground to Montgomery, who sits in second. Now, question is, and now Montgomery's not going to have to run down Willison, as we've got a car around in turn number 2. Richie Larson's 22 is going to bunch this field back up, Greg. And right as Montgomery makes his way to the 2 spot, luck be a lady, he's going to start right next to Willison on this restart.
And Willison's got to be thinking to himself, how many times can I continue to build this lead that he's had? But once again, he's going to have to do the same thing. The 14 of Aaron Willison in that first spot going to be on the low side. That's the 33J of Jeff Montgomery going to be on that high side. So all eyes on this restart here between the 33J and the 14.
This is going to be super important. You can watch the entire field to the right. Cody Ridge is on the inside of row number 3 on the left-hand side of your screen. Field rolling into the throttle. We're underway.
And nice start by both cars there, the 33J and the 14. Obviously, Aaron Willison now out in front and jumping to a big lead here once again. But you know what they're looking for, obviously, is both of those cars to be bringing the field with them, but also to be as close to side by side as they can. And that looked awful clean to me as they came across that start-finish line for this restart.
The launch and takeoff from the Willison car is unparalleled amongst this field here tonight, and that's what's got him that advantage as you're taking a look. I believe at Coleman sitting in the 5th spot, maybe 4th spot, trying to make his way back up into a higher finishing spot. So Coleman in the 44, and Neisinger in the 12. That's who you're looking at, coming after Alman, who's in 3rd place in the 8A. Down the front straightaway as we're down to 7 laps to go.
Yes, Brad Alman holding in that 3rd spot after that restart. Jeff Montgomery in the 33J holding firmly in 2nd. Aaron Willison in that 1st spot as we take a look back again to Willison here coming out of turn number 2, heading towards the backstretch. Almost at the 5 laps to go here as he's coming into 3 and 4, all smooth for the 14 cars. He's across the start-finish line now, 5 to go.
He is just getting tuned up for next week's 10K to win War of the Wings feature, making sure all systems are go as he's coming up to put a lap on the legend, Marty Rossler, former Apple Cup or Fall Classic winner is Rossler in that 63. Marty has that top wing awfully flat comparatively, as you can see. Willison's got a little bit of angle in the top wing. You run it flat, you get less drag, less resistance out of it, but you give up downforce. More tilt you have in the wing, more downforce you have, but it also robs you a little bit of straightaway speed. So Rossler going on the extreme other end of it and having the top wing very flat, whereas Willison's got about an average amount of tilt, I'd say, in the wing at the moment.
You got to think, like you said, coming up with War of the Wings, they got to be thinking about how they want to set their car up as we have Alman coming across the start-finish line here. But this got to be a wonderful warm-up, and for everybody watching, this is what you want to be coming to see as the white flag is out with Aaron Willison. 1 lap to go.
Willison into traffic after 7 laps here of a restart. He is absolutely on the hammer here at the very end. And from Canada to victory lane, Aaron Willison dominant here at Evergreen Speedway in taking the win. Montgomery will take 2nd. Alman hangs on for 3rd in our final tune-up before next week's War of the Wings 10K to win feature. Let's go to the podium and talk with our winners.
So Brad Alman, the 8A, getting the job done with a 3rd place run. Brad, you almost got to the outside of the 12 car down on the back straight on that restart, but had to get in the dirt there to save it there and managed to get it straight back out.
Yeah, I ran out of real estate there and maybe closed my eyes and pushed the right pedal down and came out unscathed. That was a really fun race, man. These last few races I'm having more fun and we're being more competitive. That's 3 third places in a row against these 2, but we'll take that any day.
I know it looked like the car had a lot of short run speed, but as the run went on, maybe it wasn't quite as happy as it would have liked.
Yeah, the nice way to put it would be the car. I'd say the driver. Just got to get some more seat time around this joint here.
I know it's still relatively new to the world of wing sprint car racing on pavement, but what do you think heading into the War of the Wings weekend here, getting more experience of the free eights here at Evergreen Speedway?
Well, like I said, anytime you're behind the 33J or a 14 car, you're doing something pretty decent, right? Me and Jeff had an awesome race there. That was, I think I seen him and my old man do that a few times, so I'm glad I'm in the seat now. So yeah, it was really good. I'm feeling pretty confident. Definitely got some work to do if we want to catch up to Aaron, but we'll see what we can do.
I know your dad, Scott, also won here in the 5/8, so second generation wing pavement sprint car driver, but I know also making the tow over from Vancouver Island, who you got helping you out to make it over here to Evergreen Speedway.
Yeah, Tom Turner, George Stewart, Dan Wickham with Island Race Masters, Kenny Haskell and Danny Matthews, Danny Myers. We got one too many Dannys on the crew. High Five Racing, Upland Contracting, K&D Contracting, Double L Electrical. Just, everyone that helps me out around behind the scenes and, in the shop during the week. They're the reason this car's up here every week.
Brad Allman brings home a third place run tonight in the 8A car and makes the trip back to Vancouver a little bit better with the trophy. Jeff, I know you managed to get through traffic, got a little bit held up there with just the lane off the start where Aaron kind of got in front of you there, and it was pretty much 14 gone after that.
Yeah, he got a really good start. I got put behind the 8 ball there and had to kind of beat my way. I had to be patient. I just didn't get a break on the start, so that's how these races go. If you can get a break at the start, a lot of times that'll put you in the position to win. So we're happy. Car's in one piece. Car ran really good. I was a little slower on the restart. Took me a couple laps to get going. The car would get really tight on the restart, so that kind of hurt us a bit. But we're really happy with the car. First time here in a long time. New team, new car. Super happy.
I know that also kind of maybe had to hurt the right rear. It looked like by the end of it, it was pretty far gone coming off of fourth. The thing was a little bit sideways.
Oh, yeah. I had to use it up to get to out front. I didn't have it that easy. I had to pass a lot of guys, but I like it that way. I enjoy that, and that's why I'm out here. So.
Who you got helping you with the 33J? I know it's same look, but a little bit different lineup in the ownership side of things.
Yeah, I have. I'm driving for Jerry Van Trite, a longtime sprint car family in Victoria, and asked me to sort of step out of retirement and run the race car, which is great. I really appreciate the offer, and I brought a couple of my guys with me that are helping me, Davey and your dad, Cole. They've been a tremendous help to us and shorten the learning curve for us, and you can show it. We've had some really good races, and Jerry's got really good equipment. We've got a stout motor in there, and it shows we're running really well.
I know, I think there's another commitment keeping away from the War of the Wings. How hard is it not to show up now next weekend?
I don't know. That's in the negotiation stage. Still, I think I'll be here next weekend. We'll see what happens.
Jeff Montgomery, strong second place run. His first time back in a little while here at Evergreen Speedway in the 33J. Aaron, I know you managed to pick your way up through the field. I think by lap 6, you're already up to 4th there. And like we said to Jeff, your lane seemed to go right off the start, and there was a hole right away.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. The start worked out really well for me tonight. I was able to make a few spots and get into clear air and pick off a few more right after, and it worked out for us. Sometimes you win those, sometimes you lose those, and I lost a few of those lately, so that felt good.
I know you were kind of checked out there in the last few laps. So I think it was 2 to go. Those lap cars got kind of stacked up rather in front of you there, and you had to stomp on the brakes to get it wound down.
Yeah, that got pretty hairy. No fault of the lap cars. They're having a good race of their own, and I anticipated the 19 going and looking on the bottom of the 22 entering one, and when I got down there, that didn't quite work out. I was planning on going to the top, and I wasn't sure there was going to be enough room out there, so I had to lock it down pretty quick, but we survived.
That just kind of shows how far you have to plot your moves ahead in one of these things. It's almost like you have to look half a lap down the racetrack.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and I ran that car really, really hard the last 8-10 laps there with Jeff Montgomery behind me. He's one of the best in North America. I learned a lot from him, and I had to run hard. I was worried about him.
I'd like to thank all the gang that I know the cars from the island, but you're from just over the border in Langley as well. But I'd like to thank all the guys you got with the Rendell Brothers group.
You got it. Tri-X group, Brian Baker does a great job. Jason Frost, the Keg, Greater Victoria locations. Dale Taylor, Taylor Metalcraft up in Cobble Hill. And Philco Machine, Tron Race Cars.
Aaron Willison gets another main event win tonight with the Granite Construction Wing Sprint Cars on Granite Construction Night and the 14 Machine, getting the job done.
Well, there he is, Aaron Wilson getting tuned up. War of the Wings coming up next week here on the show on Home Track Heroes. And I'd say the 14 car looks pretty good at the moment. What do you think?
I think that he's primed and ready. We talk about like the setup for some of these cars, what they're going to be looking like at War of the Wings, and Willison's looking awful sharp.
All right, so that is on next week's program. War of the Wings will be on. The sprint cars are here. All three divisions of figure eights, Superstock, Outlaw, and Stinger 8s all on the card, Legends as well. Next time you can come to Evergreen Speedway, ARCA is here August 19th. Also, Pro Late Models, Street Stocks, Mini Stocks, and Legends. Going to be a great couple of weeks at Evergreen Speedway. Greg Pylan, thank you so much for being here on the show once again. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of figure eight action tonight. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And you never go wrong with sprint cars. For the entire Home Track Heroes production staff, want to thank everybody, Griff and Derek and all the camera guys, Brandy for the in-car shots. For Greg and all the on-track crew, my name's Caleb Hart. See you next week here on KSTW for Home Track Heroes.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.